Clay Patton on the Rural Radio Network. Welcome to the Midwest Sheep and Goat Market Report, our first one of 2023. First off, though, thank you to Moline Seed and Fence, the proud sponsor of the Midwest Sheep and Goat Market Report. Moline Seed and Fence is your local dealer for Riviera custom gates, goat and sheep pens, along with Mountain View sheep and goat equipment. Check out all their products at MolineSeedandFence.com. And if you want to hear firsthand about their business and about how they've grown it and their part in the sheep and goat industry, check out my interview with Carrie Moline. That's available at RuralRadioNetwork.com or catch it on Spotify, where you can catch all of the previous Midwest Sheep and Goat Market Reports. Now, this is the first one where I really break down and crunch all the numbers for 2023, so my apologies. I've been traveling the last couple weeks, but I'm finally able to sit down and go over it all. So I think first we kind of take a broad look at the market, and we go back to the first of the year. That initial week we saw that pop like we typically do. Seasonality, it follows through, not to 2022 levels, not quite that strong market where we saw even at times some $5 handles on the lightweight goats as well, get it up there to $3.50, close to $4, and even on some of the lambs. But we still saw that nice pop, probably about $40 to $50 a hundredweight over where we ended December at. So came back with some strength. Now starting to come back into the later part of January, though. The weather's not as cooperative as well. The economy a little bit shakier. So it looks like this market is not having quite that same overall strength that it had a year ago. If given that, though, all the data we talk about here this week is from from January 16th to January 20th. So that's the time frame when I looked at these sale datas, as well, kind of looking back and just kind of cherry picking some data from a couple weeks ago out through the first part of the year. But with that, I would call the prime slaughter lambs, so 70 up to about 90, 95 pound lambs that are in good condition. They're not overly fat. They seem to be the strongest ones. They were up about $10 to $15 a hundredweight this week. I would call all classes of slaughter goats, both lightweights and heavies, just fairly steady and firm with where they've been for a good portion of this year. We're seeing that $400 plus handle on a lot lighter weight kids this year, and we're just not seeing it crawl up into those 50, 60, 70 pound slaughter goats like we did a year ago. Those are kind of topping out 365, 370 if you can find the right spot to really kind of hammer that home as well. Coal stock, on the other hand, I'm going to call that softer, especially on the sheep side. Coal ewes, both hair and wool ewes, really seem to be struggling, as just that overall market demand for mutton just does not seem to be there. Now, the good news is commercial lamb slaughter off to a strong pace. We're actually killing more lambs this year than we did a year ago. Carcass weights, live weights, all down several pounds from a year ago, so it's not like we're even really rubbing up against where we were last year. So looks like we're keeping a steady market. We're keeping plenty of lambs into the market. They're getting a process through and sold. So I think that's very good to hopefully at least keep this market where it's at if we can continue to try and pull those back through. What hurt us last year, we get to May, almost June, and we saw a bunch of those heavy, overweight fat lambs coming to the market. And again, count over this trade area, Colorado, Oklahoma, Texas, a lot of those heavyweight lambs hit the market. That seemed to really gel and slug things down. Hopefully we don't hit that again this year. We keep these carcass and live weights down. I think that's good. Now, in the near term, a sizable winter storm just hit a good portion of the trade area there in the high plains, parts of Colorado, Kansas, a good chunk of Nebraska, even up to parts of the Dakotas. But there in Nebraska, the reports of upwards of 2 feet of snow. So that doesn't bode well for somebody going to the sale barn. Their conversions on livestock are poor. Their pen conditions are poor. So they're not really wanting to buy in and take new stock. They may be wanting to divest of what they've got in if they can get them out. Plus, it's a tight feed year, so those poor conversions mean their costs continue to climb higher. So that's not helping the market here in the near term. Now, if you're looking to market for ethnic holidays, here's a quick rundown of a few that are on their way. Ramadan month of fasting, March 22nd through April 20th. Passover is April 5th. Roman Easter, April 9th. And Orthodox Easter is April 16th. Got a long run of highlighted quotes to get to, but thought it would be just good to kind of highlight the market in this stage. We start in Centennial Livestock in Colorado. They sold 33 head of 92-pound slaughter. Lambs weighing 210 a hundredweight or $193 a head. Centennial also sold 52 head of 103-pound wither goats for $249 a hundredweight. That's $256.50 a head average. Upper end of the draft bringing $280 a hundredweight or $288 a head. Kelowna, Iowa sold a one feeder lamb weighing 61 pounds for $305 a hundredweight. That's $186 a head. Reason I included that one, trying to single out the singles and stuff, but that was the highest quote I could find for a 60-pound lamb, so there we included it. Kelowna, though, sold 197 head of 123-pound slaughter lambs for $133 a hundredweight or $164 a head. The upper end of the draft selling for $170 a hundredweight or $209 a head. Kelowna sold 35 head of young 1 to 2 year old wool ewes weighing 124 pounds for $281 a head average. The upper end of the ewes brought $300 a head. Sioux Falls Regional Livestock sold 44 head of 81-pound slaughter lambs for $192.50 or $156 a head. Sioux Falls also sold 181 head of 4 to 6-year-old running age ewes weighing 180 pounds for $208 a head on the average. Upper end of that draft, though, did sell for $280 a head. Producers Livestock San Angelo, Texas sold 108 head of hair lambs weighing 46 pounds for $269 a hundredweight or $124 a head. Upper end of the draft bringing $283 a hundredweight or $130 a head. Producers Livestock also sold 79 head of 93-pound slaughter hair lambs for $207 a hundredweight or $193 a head. Producers sold 38 head of open, young 2 to 4-year-old does weighing 87 pounds for $183 a head. On the goat side, Hamilton Commission Company in Texas sold lightweight kids for up to $450 a hundredweight. That's the highest quote we have on goats this week, but it doesn't give an individual lot. Colby, Kansas, and Colby Livestock, they sold 7 head of 55-pound hair lambs for $260 a hundredweight or $143 a head. And Colby also sold 6 head of slaughter wool lambs weighing 91 pounds for $235 a hundredweight or $214 a head. Colby also sold 4 head of 63-pound slaughter goats for $285 a hundredweight or $180 a head. Other data this week, USDA retail meat data for the week ending January 13th. That's what was available when I put this report together. Lamb retail activity index up 15.6%. Feature rate was 3.6% lower. The special rate down 2.2%. Lamb cuts were reported at 30.06% less in the store. For the week, no roast ads were reported and chop ad space was about 18% higher. Lamb features pushed more for shoulder round bone chops. Other markets, the grain markets were mixed early this week and ended the week fairly mixed as well. 2023 seems to be shaping up to be less of a bull market for the grains than last year. That's good from a livestock feeder perspective. The bottom really probably won't fall out, but the highs likely may have already been established. From a supply and demand perspective, the story is different than last year. Argentina is still suffering from extreme drought, but Brazil is experiencing a better growing season. USDA and CONAB are both expecting Brazil to have a near record crop for corn and soybeans, so that helps to offset some of the supply issues that shot the market higher in 22. On the demand side of the equation, though, there's hope that China will increase consumption of raw commodities with their economy finally recovering from COVID. This is a concern for another year of limited supply, but as you come back to the Black Sea, the ongoing war in Ukraine, they're having some issues there. So it could drive some demand to the U.S., especially the U.S. dollar starting to move lower. Exports could start to move higher. But again, the supply concern not quite as there. Demand is not just overreaching, so it seems to kind of be holding its own. Hay market in Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, South Dakota, Colorado, and Wyoming reported mostly steady with where they've been over the last few months. At Supreme Quality Alfalfa, $250 to $300 a ton. There was one quote for $370 a ton, but that one was delivered across that region, and the rest were FOB. But overall, it looks like the market's fairly well. Volume of hay is starting to become lighter, though. Heard that comment several times, just not physically selling as much hay because of the higher prices. Looks like a lot of livestock producers were thinking ahead and got that hay bought early, so it's hand-to-mouth type buying that's kind of hammering it there. In the trade areas that were hit by that snowstorm, as we talked about earlier, likely just really no movement of hay moving there. Lamb slaughter for the week at 32,000 head through Saturday. That was down 2,000 head from the prior week, but an increase of 2,000 head from last year. Year-to-date lamb slaughter at 97,000 head, now 1.8% or 2,000 head more than the prior year. As lamb slaughter, live lamb weights, 124 pounds. That was unchanged from last week and a decrease of 8 pounds from last year. Dressed lamb weights were 63 pounds, unchanged from last week and an increase of 3 pounds from last year. As we go back, your regional price report, wool lambs 20 to 40 pounds, $245 to $275 a hundredweight on lighter volume. 40 to 70 pounds, $187 to $305 a hundredweight. 70 pounds and up, $152 to $210 a hundredweight. Hair lambs 20 to 40 pounds, $250 to $350 a hundredweight. 40 to 70 pounds, $220 to $310 a hundredweight. 70 pounds and up, $162.50 to $240 a hundredweight. Wool ewes, stocker ewes, $160 to $300 a head. Slaughter ewes, $35 to $145 a hundredweight. Slaughter rams, $55 to $145 a hundredweight. On the hair ewes, replacement quality, $135 to $250 a head. Slaughter hair ewes, $85 to $130 a head. Hair rams, $110 to $275 a hundredweight. Kid goats 20 to 40 pounds, 270 to 450 a hundredweight, 40 to 70, 195 to 425 a hundredweight, 70 pounds and up, 240 to 340 a hundredweight. On the withers, 70 pounds and up, 215 to 350 a hundredweight. On the slaughter does, medium and fleshy, $125 to $245 a head. Replacement quality does, $150 to $300 a head. And on the slaughter bucks, $180 to $270 a hundredweight. Not enough applicable trade of breeding bucks being reported for a report there. That is a look to your Midwest Sheep and Goat Market Report for the week ending January the 21st. Have a great day. Look forward to talking next week.